promised I'd give you updates. So yesterday on the Tim Ferriter matter, there was a bond hearing, which is unusual. Usually you have a bond hearing before you go to trial. But he wants to be let out on bond until his sentencing hearing, which is November 16th. So roughly, 3.5 weeks or something. So his counsel brought a motion, and that was heard yesterday.
The court is in session. Court calls up the matter of State versus Ferriter. We're hearing a motion to set bond. May we have appearances, please?
On behalf of the state, Brianna Coakley.
On behalf of Mr. Ferriter, Karam Wyatt, Ferriter is present.
All right. Court notes that Mr. Ferriter is present in the jury box.
So defense counsel says that it'll be so much easier for Tim to assist in helping them put together his argument for his sentencing hearing if he was out of jail.
Currently, the sentencing is set for November 16th. It's less than a month away. It would be of great assistance to the defense for Mr. Ferriter to be out of custody in order to assist in our preparation for the sentencing hearing.
Prosecution says the house was sold. He's got international contacts. He's lived in Spain with the kid. He's a flight risk.
So that's a fundamental difference in his position, besides the fact that he's been convicted and now that there was a mandatory prison sentence. That creates a substantial risk of a flight risk, Your Honor, that was not present before. It's an incredibly rare thing for there to be a pre-sentence release.
Are there other factors that would weigh in support of the state's position that there's additional evidence like not sufficient ties to the community, world traveler, those kinds of things that would affect my decision?
The defendant has huge international contacts, and so he has contacts throughout the world who have made extraordinary efforts to be in support of him. In addition, the defendant has resided internationally. He resided in Spain for a period of time during the time when with the children at a certain point. And I also think, as to say that he's a flight risk, there is no local residence. The defendant, the home that was at issue in this case was sold. Based on the information the state has, we have no indication that he owns any local property in Palm Beach County.
The youngest child, which is their biological child, was adopted by his wife's parents. And yes, he's been keeping in touch with the child, like while he's in jail. State is saying like he's been convicted of crimes against children. How do we know he's not going to be around children when he's out? And how do we know he's not a flight risk?
In addition, the defense has articulated that he doesn't have any continuing contact with the children. That is just not true. The youngest child in this case was adopted by his co-defendant's parents, and he's had continuing contact with that child even since he's been in custody. And so there is a substantial risk, and I think it's important to note that that child was removed from his custody by the Department of Children and Families. That dependency case closed when the adoption took place. And so there's a risk even that he'll have continuing contact with a minor child or even be living in a home with a minor child. We don't know that. Not only we can prevent him from fleeing, but we can protect the community from someone who has now been convicted of multiple crimes against a child.
And defense counsel tried to say, well, he came to court like every day for the trial and he never missed a day. Obviously, if he's ever gonna flee, it would be now before he gets sentenced, which is probably why you usually don't have bonds or bond hearings before sentencing. So a little bit bizarre. Maybe Tim Ferriter thinks he's special. Remember how he told Ronan, "You're not fucking special." Well, Tim, you're not fucking special.
The purpose of bond is to continue to make sure that the defendant appears for court. There is no doubt that Mr. Ferriter is going to appear for his sentencing hearing. He's appeared all the way through and continues to intend to comply with all of the court orders. I would also point out that he does not have any custody of the children, and therefore there is no issue there. We are, as I said, preparing for testimony for the sentencing, and we may be needing to prepare his statements as well.
With the crimes he's been convicted of, there's a mandatory sentence, a minimum of 75 months, which is like 6 years and a couple months, and a max of 40 years. And with that, there's either a downward slope or an upward slope. It's all up to the discretion of the court. And his defense counsel, after trial, had indicated that because he has no priors, he's never been in trouble, They were going to try, I guess it's defense counsel's job, for the lowest possible sentence, which is 35 months. So 3 years less a month. I don't think he'll get that. I don't even think he'll get the 75 months. I think he's going to go away for a very, very long time.
Tell me what the mandatories are that we are looking at
The
here.
bottom of the guidelines in this case is 75 months.
75 months. So that's a little over 6 years.
Correct, Your Honor. And obviously, Your Honor has discretion all the way up to 40 years in the Department of Corrections, which is a substantially significant posture than when the defendant was on pretrial, especially since the state, first of all, he's convicted, and second, there's additional charges here.
The defense says we'll turn over his passport, we'll put a GPS on him, he'll be tracked, he will not be leaving. He has shown that he'll come to court every day. Don't matter. He locked a child in a box, so he could stay locked in a box until his sentencing. And after his sentencing, like, who does this guy think he is? Oh, like somebody said in the comments, entitlement. That's what it is. He feels entitled. I hope all this has been a wake-up call for him and he realizes what a douche he is.
Deal with the securing of his return to court, which is the entire purpose of bond. And we're dealing with that through the issues that we brought up as to surrendering his passport and a GPS monitor, and that he will be residing in Palm Beach County. In terms of the address, I'm happy to provide the address to the state. I'm happy to have them go and do whatever they need to do to make sure that there's no child at the house or anything of that nature.
It was very interesting to see Tim's demeanor in court compared to his demeanor during the trial. I mean, during the trial, he was just stone cold, like no emotion. And today you could see he looks broken, okay? He's starting to grow a beard, and I'll show you the clip, but he's sitting there and he's literally shaking. The judge didn't rule just yet. He has to make a written order. So he's going to review the case law, whatnot, and we'll hear hopefully soon if he will grant him bond. I don't think he will. No, I don't see it.
All right, thank you. Court is going to take this under advisement. My review of the case law and of the rule tells me that I need to make specific findings in regard to my ruling on this motion. So that's going to require that I put together a written order, and I will move promptly to get an order out as quickly as possible, but it's not something that I can rule from the bench without doing what the cases tell me. And the rule tells me draft an order with findings to support whatever my ruling is. All right, good enough then. Court is in recess. Thank you.
Now, I really like this judge. He seems very fair, very smart, and I think compassionate. And I don't see him letting Tim off easy. So there you go. Anything else comes up in the meantime, I'll let you know. Once the judge has made his ruling, again, I will update you. And thank you for all the kind words after my last video, having my meltdown. I do appreciate the support. It was difficult. So I do appreciate it, and thank you for watching. I'll see you again, and in the meantime, practice kindness and look out for your fellow beings.